What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the MMA Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. If you're a brand new listener, welcome. If you're reoccurring, then, welcome back. Thank you so much. And remember, don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you really feel. Let me know what you feel, especially after we had a... how can I put this nicely? A fight card that had all the potential, but did not really deliver, in my opinion. There were some good fights in there, don't get me wrong. There were some amazing fights in there, don't get me wrong. But, just the fights that I thought were going to deliver, there was not a lot of finishes, not a lot of KOs, and, a lot of decision wins. So, yeah. The prelims, however, was really good. The prelims actually was fire, bro. The prelims had a lot of finishes, so that I'm happy about. I mean, pretty much all were finishes until the Arena Aldana fight and the Manyfield fight. They were unanimous, but up to that point, they were all TKOs, all submissions. Bro, amazing fight. Then we got to the main fight card, which started off with Josh Emmett and Bryce Mitchell, who they switched it up. It was supposed to be they were going to close out the prelims. But then, I guess, because Ian Gary pulled out of the fight, I guess they kind of bumped them up to open up the main fight card, the pay-per-view. So, the fight, it lasted only a minute or 2 minutes, whatever it was, and ended with a nasty, nasty KO by Josh Emmett. At this point, your boy is happy, all right, because I had entered a parlay, right? However, if you remember last week's episode, I was saying that I was rooting for Bryce Mitchell and I was wanting Bryce Mitchell to win, and I do. But when right as I was about to pay for the parlay, dude, it just kind of clicked. I was like, I don't know, bro. Josh Emmett is a fucking savage. He is obviously an OG as well. He's been doing it for a minute. And, Bryce has potential, but he's coming off a loss. And I don't know. It was just not, it didn't inspire more confidence. And turns out I was right. Turns out, if I would have put money on Bryce Mitchell and then he gets knocked the fuck out in 2 minutes, I would have been way more pissed. And I was pissed anyways later on the card. But I switched it up last minute. I was like, you know what? Let me start off with Emmett. So that's what my parlay started with. Mind you, my parlay was mostly underdogs. So I already knew I had a low chance of winning. So when I got that first win, I got hyped. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. And then, yeah, you're going to judge me for this one. But the next fight, I had Tony. And I was like, you know what? Tony could get it done, bro. He's going to fucking shock the world. Who knows? A lot of people bet against Strickland when he fought Izzy. And look what happened, right? I'm not saying this is the same scenario, but, rooting for a massive underdog is always a good idea because you can cash out. And, yeah, I would have cashed out if Tony won. But let me just finish up Josh Emmett first and Bryce Mitchell. It was a good fight. Good fight for Josh Emmett. Nasty KO on Bryce Mitchell, and the guy, Dana White said he was okay, but he started having seizures, I believe, on the octagon. So right after getting knocked out. So I'm glad he's okay. Bryce Mitchell is always such a positive dude. Every time I see him on the embedded and he kind of bumps into other fighters, he's always saying the nicest things, always telling them, I'm praying for you, I'm praying for your health, for you to make it to your family safe. That's something that he emphasizes a lot. So when he gets knocked out, you want to see the guy be okay, and you want to see the guy get up and be okay. So luckily he is. Dana White confirmed in the press conference that he was okay. He passed all his tests, all his health tests. Obviously, might have some sort of concussion or something, but he is fine in the grand scheme of things. So that is great news, and I'm happy to hear that for Bryce Mitchell. For Josh, man, that was a nasty KO, and that was a way for him to tell the UFC, hey, motherfuckers, I'm still here. You know what I mean? I'm still at the top of the division. I can still compete. I believe right now he was ranked number 6, and Bryce Mitchell, I believe, was unranked. Never mind, sorry. We went over this last week. Sorry, he was ranked number 10. Josh Emmett was ranked number 6. So who knows? Maybe he will move up a little bit off the ladder. Maybe he'll be ranked 4 or 5. But Josh is a guy that challenged for the interim title, and he's been there at the top of the division for a hot second now. I would like for him to get a title shot, maybe after we see the Volkanovski fight, right, versus Ilia Topuria. I think up next, if Volk is able to kind of get past Ilya, and that's just another record, on Volk's another win on Volk's record. Okay, who's next on the division, right? Well, you have obviously Max Holloway still at the top. He's ranked number 1 currently still, but I don't think they're gonna do a right away rematch between him and Volk. Brian Ortega, I don't think he's gonna get a shot until he gets another win or a couple of other wins. So I'm a huge Brian Ortega fan, by the way. You have Ilya, who's already fighting. You have Arnold Allen. I don't know if he's booked, Arnold Allen, but he's a good fighter and he's there. He did have that loss against Max, so who knows? Maybe the UFC wants him to kind of, get another dub. But before he fought Max, he had some great wins. He defeated Calvin Kattar. He defeated Dan Hooker. So the guy has been on a tear. Obviously, anyone that fights Max is going to lose. That's just period. Except if your name is Alexander Volkanovski. Anyways, though, Josh Emmett is right there, right? I think, even though he lost to the interim, I think he would be a good challenger for the title and a good matchup for Alex, bro. Because now we learned that Emmett can fucking crack, bro. He will put your lights out. And Alex, if I think one issue that has been with him ever since before the Makachev fights is that he gets hit. If you go back and you watch the Holloway fight, not the third one. The third one he did really good at defending, but the prior two, he gets hit. If you go watch the Brian Ortega fight, he got hit a lot on that. And I think Brian just really did a good job in the last rounds of slowly but surely connecting some rounds. And if you can remember, the whole sequence of when Alex almost got submitted, it initiated because Ortega really put him down with a punch. I think it was just a straight right or something, and put him down, and that's when Ortega went immediately for the submission. So, at that time, Volk was maybe a little wobbled. So if Ortega could have, instead of going for the submission, could have gone for the ground and pound, who knows? Maybe Alex wouldn't survive as much. But regardless, it gave us one of the best rounds ever. So I'm not mad at that. But I think Josh Emmett is a guy that could potentially challenge for the title next, especially because you gave him a big test in Bryce Mitchell, who's not ranked high. However, he is top 10, but he's a huge name. He's popular, and he has kind of like a social media presence as well. So I think it was good that he defeated him, because now he can say, all right, I defeated your boy that was up and coming. Now I should be the one next up for the title. So I'm not mad at that. I think Josh Emmett deserves a title shot, obviously after Alex fights Ilia Topuria. And, if Ilya defeats Alex, then they might do a rematch, so that puts a hole on things. But I think if Alex is able to get past Ilya, I think Josh Emmett is a great opportunity. And he's also getting older in age, so I think Josh Emmett needs a shot, pretty fucking soon. But good win for Josh Emmett, man. That shit was a nasty KO, bro. He just hit so fucking hard. Next, we had Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett, who I obviously had said in the last pod as well that I had Paddy to win. Bro, the advice that I gave you guys last week, I said to myself on Saturday night before placing the bet, I said, fuck that. Honestly, I just completely ignored my own advice, and I put money on Tony Ferguson. I put him on the parlay. So as you can imagine, this is when the parlay fell apart. I still had some individuals, but the parlay just completely fell apart at this point. And almost got finished in the first round. He was wobbled really bad. Luckily, he survived that. And, when it comes to surviving around like that, I think that speaks more to the training he had with David Goggins, right? David Goggins is not going to help him, with his technique, with his punching, with his submissions. He's not going to do any of that. David Goggins was simply giving him strength, maybe cardio, but also mentality. Remember, David Goggins has a hard-headed motherfucker. He is able to kind of push like pain away and just keep going, right? This is what Tony did. At the end of the first round, he almost got submitted. He had a decent third round. Second, I think all rounds went to Paddy, but he had a decent third round. I can't remember fully the sequence, but Paddy was exhausted by the end. That's another thing that we learned from Paddy, is that he was super tired at the end. So, is he going to be able to compete at a higher level once he gets higher in this division and he's forced to do like a 5-round fight? Tony has been there. Tony wasn't tired. Tony has had multiple long fights, and also more experience. And again, the cardio that he trained with David Goggins, So you can see that by the third round, the fight was kind of shifting a little bit. If the fight would have been a 5-round fight, I think you wouldn't see Paddy just completely exhausted and Tony doing some work on the feet. So if the fight would have gone a little bit longer, I think it would benefit Tony for sure. Then this is the issue that I have with 3-round fights, is that sometimes they're just not long enough. I wish they would do more regularly, maybe like a 4-round or a 5-round. I don't know. To have only 3 rounds and then to have 5 for a championship, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird, because in situations like this, like I said, you give out the first round and then you start picking it up on the second, and on the third is when you're really on top. By that time you're done, however, you know what I mean? So if you cannot get the finish, obviously you're going to lose the decision. So it's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit controversial. I would love to see bigger rounds, but also, guys get tired for sure. But look at Tony. He didn't get tired. And I think that's something that in the future, there might be more of a possibility, because nowadays, guys are completely just training for 5 rounds no matter what. I think if you're a professional and you are on the come up on the ranks, I think your cardio is not an issue. I don't know. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I mean, obviously, guys are different, and obviously there are guys that got tired, like Paddy Pimblett. We saw him get tired. But also, Paddy's a guy that blows up a little bit in between rounds. And also, he just came off of a surgery and came off of sitting off his couch. He said it. He said it himself a lot. He was just sitting on his couch, just doing nothing, you know what I mean? So I'm not even going to try. So he said it's obviously not the best cardio, got tired, but who knows? If he stays healthy year-round, and if he's able to work out year-round, then maybe he'll be able to go a little bit longer and have, a better result in the last round. But the last round was going towards Tony. He still lost it, however. I know, don't call me stupid. He still lost it. But if the fight would have 4 and 5 rounds, I think Tony would have for sure taken those 2 rounds home. Who knows? Maybe get the finish, I don't know. I mean, as far as Tony goes, man, I agree that he should retire. Dana White said it plain and simple. He said, I believe Tony should retire. I 100% agree with that. He's had an amazing career. What I don't want Tony to do is retire and then go to fucking bare knuckle and go to fucking, Bellator or some shit like that, or go fight boxing, go fight Jake Paul. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I think the guy it just doesn't have it anymore, bro. At one point, this guy was the best lightweight in the fucking planet. And now, he does good. He looks good. This is my dilemma, is that he looks okay. He doesn't look terrible. Obviously, he doesn't look as fast. He doesn't look as, as accurate or as strong. Just pointing everything but he did survive 3 rounds with Paddy, and Paddy tried to put him away a couple of times, with damn near knocking him out in the first round, damn near submitting him on the second and third, and he survived. You know what I mean? He can survive, and he didn't really take a lot of damage in this fight, which is good. However, offensively, I don't know. He just doesn't have it that much. You know what I mean? So I think retiring for him is a strong, strong possibility right now, especially for the record, bro. If anything, just do it for the record. Like, what is that, 7-0 or 8 in a row? 8 in a row that he's lost. 7 in a row that he's lost. Like, sorry, not 7-0, but 0-7. I mean, if it would have been any other guy, the UFC would have cut them at like 3 fights or 4 fights. Probably 4 or 5. It's where kind of like the threshold is. But the fact that he's Tony Ferguson and he's a big name and still a massive pay-per-view draw, because of that, they've allowed him to keep fighting. But any other guy would have been cut already. I don't think the UFC is going to cut him. I think that Dana might talk to him and be like, hey, bro, come on. What's up? What I would like to see, however, before he retires is get a big name fight so he can make some money as well. You know what I mean? Maybe get one more fight. Like, maybe the Nate Diaz fight was the best chance to retire because it was a big name, main event, definitely had pay-per-view points, definitely a bigger paycheck. Right off into the sunset, baby. You know what I mean? Like, why do you have to continue to fight? You know what I mean? Mind you, maybe it wasn't the biggest paycheck on, it wasn't like a Conor McGregor paycheck, obviously, but it was a Nate Diaz paycheck, which is probably better than a Paddy Pimblett paycheck, So, I don't know. It's just kind of tough, man. But I would like to see him fight someone big. But as far as who, I mean, obviously the first person that comes to my mind is Conor. That would be a great fight for Tony to retire, make all the fucking money, and then retire. Other than that, as far as a lightweight goes, I don't know. I don't see anybody there that's clear for him. I mean, he doesn't deserve to fight any of the top guys. As far as big name goes, you have Gaethje, you have Oliveira, but those guys are all top 3, bro. Top 2, top 3. You have Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. We're talking about top at the top, right? So as far as big names, I don't know. Maybe, he already fought Bobby Green. He also already fought a lot of people, so there's not a lot of names that. There's not someone at the top of the list. There's not someone with a big name that comes to my mind. I'll do some research, but there's not anyone that with a big enough name that's not in the top 5 of that division that will say, all right, that makes sense for a big money fight, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know what he decides if he does decide to keep fighting. I mean, I don't see why he would be a pay-per-view fight. I think he might drop down to the prelims as well, which is bad because he has a big name. He can't use it. They might put him in the beginning of the main event. So who knows? Maybe they'll still give him some of that money, but he's just not a contender anymore, bro. He just is not anymore, and it hurts to say it. It hurts my soul to say it, bro. He's just not a contender anymore, and that's plain and simple. You know what I mean? So with Paddy, however, again, I agree. We learned a lot from Paddy in this fight, but I agree that it was a lose-lose for him, right? Because I mean, the mere fact that he couldn't put it away, I think that speaks a lot, right? And that I think a lot of people will say, "Oh, you couldn't even put him away." You tried, but you couldn't. I mean, he was kind of gaining on you at the end of the fight. So I don't know. I mean, that just shows to I think that shows to the inactivity, to coming off an injury, of a surgery, of non-training. I think that is more. If we would have got a Paddy at 100%, you know what I mean? Like, let's say he just fought 4 months ago and was fresh, and now he's fighting again, didn't blow up in between camp, you know what I mean? We would have gotten a much different Paddy. So I think Paddy just needs to gain again some of that. He needs to gain some of that momentum that he already had, but he needs to completely remove blowing up between fights, because if you're doing that at the top of the lightweight division, brother, you are not going to compete. I'll tell you that. I mean, what happens if you do that when you're going against Islam Makhachev, bro, or Charles Oliveira, or Justin Gage, or Dustin Poirier? Those guys are going to destroy you, right? And Paddy has the potential to be at the top of that division, right? He already proved that he should kind of belong in the rankings. This is kind of a weird one, but, maybe he'll be in the rankings in the next fight. But yeah, as far as what's next for him, however, looking at the lightweight division, looking at this division right now, you obviously have the top 5. No, I'm not looking at anybody in the top 5. I'm going to completely disregard them. Top 10, I'm going to completely disregard top 10 as well. So I think he had said something about fighting, obviously, between the top 13 and 11, 13, 12, 11, So you have Bobby Green right there. I think that's a good fight. I think Bobby Green is a perfect fight for Paddy to break through in the rankings in the lightweight division. I think if he can do that, if he can defeat Bobby Green, okay, we'll know that he's in the lightweight division. Now, I don't think as soon as he breaks in the lightweight division, I don't think they're going to make him go, contender after contender. I think they're going to boost him up to a top 5 situation. You know what I mean? So, however the layout is looking at that time in the top 5 division, we still have to, fight against Oliveira and Makachev. That hasn't been announced, which I think is going to be for UFC 300, or I hope at least the co-main, because the main I have a prediction for Conor and Chandler. So, which is not so much of a prediction. I mean, it's pretty much what everyone thinks, but I don't think anyone is thinking for the co-main for Charles and Islam, right? And yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, those are not co-main fighters; those are main event fighters. Well, yeah, but compared to Conor McGregor, everyone is a co-main fighter, bro. So it is what it is. The only other guy that I would say will not be a co-main with Conor, it would have to be Izzy or John Jones. That's it. Izzy will not be a co-main. John Jones will not be a co-main as well. Although Izzy, I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I would not be surprised if he is a co-main or earlier on the main event. Especially because you've lost 2 in a row, or 2 out of his last 3. So you're not the champion anymore. So if you want to be co-main of a big pay-per-view, you have to fight for a championship. So. Yeah, it's I wouldn't be surprised if Izzy comes back for 300 as well under the not a main, not a co-main, but maybe the one before. But hold on, I went off track. So someone like a Bobby Green, I think would be good. Someone like a Moicano, Renato Moicano, Brazilian guy as well. He's a really good dude as well. So he has some options right there. So I wish him luck, and I hope that he's able to continue on his path. He hit a little bit of a roadblock, because he went through that massive fight that everyone thought he lost. And, it was a close fight. I don't know if the other guy was Rob. It was Jerry Gordon. But I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It's on the record. You can't go back. You can't change it. So just move forward. So he defeated Tony. Now he has to focus on breaking in the rankings of the lightweight division. So tough job, man, because looking at those top 5 of the lightweight, they're all savages, bro. And for what I've seen from Patty so far, he looked really fucking good like 2-3 fights ago. But again, he's fighting lower ranked guys. If he fights, in the top 5, how he fought Tony, forget about it. He's not going to be able to do anything. So, just food for thought right there. So next we had Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Thompson. I also put money on Stephen Thompson, again, putting on the underdogs. No, I'm not stupid. I know Shavkat Rakhmonov is a fucking beast, and he was most likely going to win. But, you never know, bro. If I bet on the underdogs. So, but it's completely different from what I came here last week and said, by the way. So, fuck me, I guess. So, we have, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Thompson, who I thought it was a good fight for while it lasted. I would have liked to see more output from Wonderboy. However, he had some good body shots. He had some good, strikes. But overall, I think we needed a little more output. And this kind of led me to think like, okay, it kind of put me myself a little bit in the mentality of, okay, I'm gonna fight this dude, right? What is the game plan, right? And we'll talk about game plan here in a sec, because if you want to talk about game plan, we'll talk about Colby Covington. But what is my game plan coming into this fight, right? When I'm fighting this scary, scary dude, right? I think what you cannot do is play the long game. I don't think you want to be there for 3 full rounds. I don't think you want to, chop up his legs and then jab him up and piece him apart and then hopefully get a decision win. I don't think that's what you want to do when you're fighting someone like Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think what Wonderboy had to come out is completely say fuck it, especially in his situation, right, where he needs to win and he needs to continue to win because he's also getting up there in age. So I would have just risked it for the biscuit. I would have just came out and throw some crazy karate kicks and hope that one of them lands on Shavkat. But I would have thrown 10 on the first round. I mean, definitely go to the body a couple times and then go to the body and then on one of them go to the head, whatever. I'm not a coach, but that's what I would have done at least. I would have said, okay, if I'm going against a scary dude, I'm not going to want to be there for 3 rounds because that gives him, especially when he has such a big dominance over wrestling and grappling over you, like Shavkat had over Stephen Thompson, right? If I'm Stephen Thompson, why am I giving this dude more time for him to do work, for him to submit me, take me down and submit me? We know submissions and these sambo guys and these wrestling guys are not. It's not like a fast thing. Like, yeah, if someone could take you down and submit you in 5 seconds, that maybe says that you shouldn't be in the UFC. But it's always a long game. They take you down, they grind on you for a bit. It could take a full round and not even submit, So it's a long game. So what I will not do is give this dude more time for him to do that. And how do I do that if you're Steven? Is you risk it for the biscuit a little bit more and you just throw caution to the wind, obviously have good defense, but just more output when it comes to strikes. You know what I mean? Go to the body a little more and go to the head a little more with some crazy spinning kicks like he is able to do. We know he's able to do things like that. So why not use your best tool? You know what I mean? That would be my game plan. Obviously, I'm not a fighter, but, I like to think that I somehow see things a little bit clearer from an outside perspective. But, that's my game plan. Why would I give this dude a little bit more time to kind of do his thing? You know what I mean? He has knockout power. Stephen Thompson for sure has knockout power. Use it. Try to use it. Don't play the long game with this dude. As far as what next for Shavkat, Colby was thrown on there or a championship fight was thrown up there. However, when it comes to that division, I do think that who's up next is Belal Muhammad. I mean, it's the right thing to do. My guy has been waiting forever. I think that's the right thing to do is to give it to Belal Muhammad. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Shavkat, man. I think they're gonna give him one more fight before a championship fight, and I think it's gonna depend on how it plays out. Now, last week I had a crazy theory about this division, right? I was gonna say, well, the winner of obviously Leon and Colby is gonna fight Belal Muhammad. Who's gonna fight the winner of that, right? Now, I had said that obviously we had 2 welterweights fighting that day, but unfortunately only one fought. So I was gonna say that the winner of Ian Gary and who was he fighting? Vicente Luque. The winner of that would fight the winner of Shavkat Rakhmonov and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Obviously, that kind of fell apart because Ian Gary did not fight. However, he is booked again to fight Jeff Neal. So now I'm thinking the winner of Ian Gary and Jeff Neal is going to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov for the number 1 contender, if you want to call it, for the championship attempt, right? While after that, obviously the winner of those 4 fights are going to fight the winner of Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards. Now, that is also banking in the scenario that if Leon wins, that's great, right? Then they can do that right away. But if Belal wins, will they do a rematch for Leon? 2, last week I said no because he only has 1. Last week I said if Colby wins, Leon's not going to get a rematch because he only has 1 title defense, right? But now he has 2. That's more legit, right? 2 is more legit than 1. So will he get a rematch if he loses against Belal Muhammad, or will he not? However, the winner of that interaction will most likely fight the winner of Shavkat Rakhmonov, and then the winner of either Ian Gary or Jeff Neal. Those are the options now, the way I see it for this division. UFC, I'm winning my 10%. Thank you so much. Either way, I mean, it's not. I'm joking that I need a 10%, but it's not that difficult to kind of break down. You know what I mean? It's just looking at the standings and looking where everyone's at. I don't think Gilbert Burns, he's in the top 5, but I don't think he gets a shot anytime soon. Kamaru Usman is the number 1, but I don't think he gets a shot anytime soon. So that leaves, Colby's probably going to be out for a couple months as well, without even, before even training again. So, yeah, I mean, you have Sean Brady still there, but he's number 7, still has a little bit way to go, even though he just won. So who knows, man? I'm excited for this division. I think this is one of the most exciting divisions, and this is what happens. after a dominant champion leaves his throne, right? This was not a super exciting division for a while because of Kamaru Usman being a dominant champion. And that's not a knock for him. That's what you should do, obviously. Why? Is he going to lose to entertain us? No, right? So, but this is what happens after a champion gets dethroned. Now it's scrambled. And, who's going to be the champ next? Who's going to be the champ next? So who's going to be the main contender next? Who's that guy next? Who's going to be that division's GOAT next? You know what I mean? So this is what's happening right now. Even though we have a dominant champion so far has been dominant, he still has some testing to do, right? And that's what's exciting. It creates that for the champion, and it also creates a lot of number one contender, number two contender fights. So that should be exciting, man. I'm excited to see what happens with that division next. So for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I say his whole name like I am a Mexican grandmother. That's mad at him. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. If you're Mexican, you know. Anyways, for him, I don't think he's in the same boat as Tony. And Dana White said this. I'm literally just quoting for retiring, right? I don't think he's on that boat as like, a ton of losses in a row, older in age. He looks fantastic. He looks great, right? He looks active. He looks like he's fucking 32. So the fact that he's still in there and bouncing around and throwing nice strikes, kind of tells you a lot that, okay, this is a guy that's not washed. He just had some. When it comes to Steven, bro, I really think he's had the worst matchups of all time. And I think it does play a factor to him just being a striker. You know what I mean? It's unfortunately, however, I think it's too late to go in there and kind of relearn wrestling. I think that's going to be a nightmare for him, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. So I think for him, same boat as Tony as far as not retiring, but like, okay, title aspirations might not be as high right now, so let's focus on some money fights, right? But Colby called him up. That's an interesting fight that I can talk about here in a bit, but that's a good fight. I mean, looking at the division, obviously it's not going to be anyone top guy. However, Colby called him out. For as far as the rankings go, that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because if somehow Steven is able to get past Colby, what now? Is Colby going to be ranked still in the top 3? Because I'll tell you who's not. Shavkat. Well, actually, Shavkat is top 5, sorry. But I think Colby's still going to be above Shavkat. So the rankings haven't changed, by the way. They change tomorrow. I still believe Colby's going to be ranked over Shavkat Rakhmonov right now. So think of it as before the fights. Colby's 3, Shavkat's 5, right? I still think Colby's going to be right above Shavkat, maybe a 4, or maybe a 3, stays at 3, and then Shavkat moves to a 4. However, if for some reason Steven defeats Colby, what is he now going to be above Colby, which would put him above Shavkat, who lost to, so I don't think that makes a lot of sense. So I don't think that fights for rankings. I think Colby just wants some big-ish names. You don't have those huge names in the division. I mean, you have Gilbert Burns, that's a big name, but I think Gilbert is more on like a title path than whatnot. So, you have obviously Stephen Thompson, and that's it. I mean, you have Vicente Luque, that's a big-ish name. You have Kevin Holland, also a big-ish name. Oh, by the way, they announced Kevin Holland and Michael Venom Page. That's going to be an amazing fight too, by the way. So maybe not that, So Steven makes sense as far as a big name, but as far as rankings, it doesn't. Especially because if I were Colby, I call out Gilbert Burns, who's number 4. Do I have still title aspirations, right? If I'm Colby Covington, do I still have chances and hope of being a champion? If that answer is yes, then why call out Stephen Thompson, who just lost and is ranked way below you? You know what I mean? Call out Kamaru Usman again. He's ranked number 1. Call out Gilbert Burns. He's ranked number 4. You know what I mean? Like, call out Bilal Muhammad, even though he might fight next. Call him out, even though. Show that you have interest in the top 3 of the division. That will tell me, okay, this guy still wants to be champ, right? But he's calling out a guy that just lost and is way below. That tells me he might be done, right? Again, I'll talk about Colby more here in a sec, but yeah, that was it for the Shavkat Rakhmonov and Stephen Thompson. Bro, Shavkat, dude, that guy, I'm telling you right now, he's the next Khabib, right? If he's able to continue on this 100% finish rate, if he's able to do that, he's better than Khabib, better than Islam, better than anybody, bro. Because 100% finish ratio is crazy. Not even John Jones has that. 18 wins, 18 finishes is absolutely absurd, bro. And if he is able to do that all the way to the championship, to the belt, I'm sorry, but we have a new GOAT, bro. Mind you, the guy is not fucking, he's not charismatic. He's not popular. He doesn't speak English, you know what I mean? He's very quiet. He doesn't talk much. So it's tough for that aspect. But skill-wise, though, you GOAT. Who the fuck has a 100% finish rate and undefeated? Not even Khabib, bro. Khabib is undefeated, 30-0. It's not, 30-0 is better than 18-0. But, bro, this guy probably already has more finishes than Khabib, than Islam. Honestly, I'm not going to go look at stats, but it might be up there, bro. If he's able to do that all the way up, holy fucking shit, this guy will be a GOAT superstar. The superstar fact, again, he's not very charismatic, right? But now I want to see this guy against the top of the division because he's that fucking good, right? So now I'm looking at, a Colby, a Kamaru, you know what I mean? A Bilal, a Gilbert Burns. Now he's in that conversation, right? I love it when guys completely break through and now are in the top 3, top 4 conversation, right? Because usually the people there are big names, right? And we have big names. We have Gilbert Burns, we have Kamaru Usman, we have Leon Edwards, we have Colby Covington, right? So now these guys there, Shavkat Rakhmonov has wiggled himself in the elevator with all those savages, right? He's in that conversation. And he is that good, bro. I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He will defeat everyone, bro. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. He's going to defeat everyone. Leon looks great technically, but actually, you know what, bro? Fuck. Actually, now that Leon might be the best. Leon might be the hardest fight for Shavkat in the whole division. Because Leon does everything so fucking well. Can Shavkat still win? Absolutely. Can Leon win? Absolutely. But Leon is for sure the hardest fight. Who's gonna is Kamaru gonna give him the toughest fight? Nah, because he just lost 2 in a row. And he's getting older, he has bad knees, you know what I mean? 3 in a row, sorry. He lost 3 in a row. Not 2, shit, sorry. Who's going to give him a tough match? Colby with his amazing cardio and wrestling, which completely went away? Nah, Gilbert Burns, nah. Gilbert Burns can get submitted even though he's a black belt. So, yeah, man, I don't see anybody there to give him in a lot of trouble other than Leon. And only because Leon looked so fucking good against Colby, and then the second fight against Kamaru. He looked fantastic. So just doing everything right. And I said this. I might have been rooting for Colby, and I'll break. You know what? Never mind. I'll break down the main event here in a second, right? Let's move on. I'm just going on tangents. So we have the co-main, which was Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. It was a good fight. I was rooting more for Brandon, and again, I'm not a coach, bro, but when I was looking at him fight, the first thing that came to my mind is just unexperienced, right? You can go back and watch the fight and look at rounds 1 to 4. The only thing he threw, striking-wise, was a right. A right jab. That was a few body kicks, but it had to be like 98% of his whole output was a straight right jab. Sometimes maybe more of a hook, but he was always throwing the right. And I know he's got good boxing because in the last round is where he kind of started to mix it up, doing some combos and shit. And he had some success in the last round, but his whole output throughout the whole fight was just the right hand, bro, which I was screaming at my fucking TV, throw something else, bro. That being said, Pantoja is a savage, and I did not realize this until they got in the ring. But Pantoja is just bigger too. He's thicker. He's got bigger arms, bigger everything. Probably bigger dick too. But he's just got bigger everything. I mean, Brandon is a skinny guy, skinny, thin guy, bro. And Pantoja just has big shoulders, big. He looks like a fucking lightweight, bro. Pantoja looks like a fucking featherweight. Like, it's insane. So I think, Pantoja got the dub overall, I think, because of his control on the ground. He was able to take down Brandel whenever the fuck he wanted, and damn near submitted him whenever the fuck he wanted as well. Well, not whenever he wanted, but almost submitted him a couple of times. Brandon showed some strength on the ground, some good grappling exchanges, some good chain wrestling, it was okay. But overall, Pantoja just kind of dominated the whole fight, you know what I mean? So that's there for that. As far as that division goes, man, I don't know. I mean, you have Brandon Moreno fighting again, who I think Dana pointed out that it was going to be a number one contender fight. Brandon, who's he fighting? Fuck. Brandon Moreno. Oh, was it here? Next opponent? No. Brandon Moreno. Sorry, guys. Versus Amir. He's fighting Amir. Okay. I just didn't know. I saw him on the list, but I don't know if he's fighting Amir Albazi. Yeah, he's fighting Amir Albazi. All right. So, Amir, I'm going to be honest with you. Amir is a guy that I'm not that familiar with. I've never really seen him fight, so I'm not going to comment on that fight right now. But that Dana confirmed that is a number one contender fight. So if Brandon is able to pull the dub again, you might get a rematch between him and Pantoja. So, yeah. Now, Pantoja no punk, bro. He's a good fucking dude, bro. Scary looking dude, but just has some flaws as well. So, not the best striking. He was getting outstruck by Brandon towards the end of the fight as well. And then during the Brandon Moreno fight, he was absolutely eating punches like a motherfucker. So was Brandon, though, so it's fine. Moreno. So, yeah, that's it for that, man. I wish them luck on their next endeavors, and I hope that they do well. Now we have arrived, ladies and gentlemen, to the main event of the evening, which was, of course, Leon Rocky Edwards versus Colby Chaos Covington. I had a lot of hope for Colby. I really thought he was going to come out with a better game plan. If you want to have one takeaway from all of this, is that Colby did not have the best game plan of the night of his whole career. Honestly, he came out, just looked off. He said himself too that his timing was off. He couldn't find his timing. But I think he got out wrestled. I was gonna say he should use more wrestling, but Leon was just better everywhere else. And I don't know what to take away from this. I don't know if Leon is that fucking good or if Colby had an off night. Mind you, he's also been inactive. He also hasn't fought in 2 years. So that could play a big factor, huge factor on this, right? That sometimes, however, is a double. Sometimes it could go either way. You could have a long time off and come back really fresh and with a good mentality, or you can come back and have ring rust, as they call it, or octagon rust. So, I don't know what it was. Colby, however, what I will say is that you talk all this shit and then you get dominated. Now you look stupid, bro. You know what I mean? So for Colby to say like, oh yeah, I'm in the best shape of my life, and then go and talk shit on Leon's dad and then get completely fucking whooped, I don't know what he was hoping for, bro. Honestly, I don't know what Colby wanted out of that fight. He wasn't winning striking exchanges. He wasn't winning wrestling exchanges that he initiated. Every time Colby took Leon down, which when he had that first takedown, which I think was round 2 or round 3, when he had that first takedown, I was like, oh, here we go. Now you woke up the beast. Now it's over. You know what I mean? But then Leon got right back to fuck up and then took Colby down to prove a fucking point, bro. That was his ego saying, oh, he took me down? All right, watch this, motherfucker. Now I'm going to take him down. So I will say, you know, I completely disregarded Leon, bro, if I'm going to be honest. And I probably shouldn't do this, right? Because I know you guys might not care, but what I'm doing, this podcast that I'm doing, you know, I have aspirations, right? To, you know, take it to bigger places, obviously grow it and, you know, be a legit, you know, whatever you want to call it, a legit UFC channel, you know what I mean? And I can't do that or whatever. I'm not a journalist, but some type of journalism, you know, in the UFC and have just like a UFC channel and whatnot. So I can't keep doing this, that I can't keep being biased in my decisions. And that's something that I'm going to work on, and that's something that I'm going to improve on, right? I immediately went for Colby, and I completely disregarded Leon's technique and, you know, his skill, you know what I mean? I mean, I didn't disregard it. I knew he's good, but I was saying, like, he's not that good. The first fight against Kamaru was just, you know, a fluke. It was a knockout, and then the second fight was a knockout, and then the third fight, you know, was, you know, whatever. Kamaru wasn't there, so I kept putting him off as like he's not that good. You know what I mean? Kamaru just had a bad knockout and then a bad night. You know what I mean? But now that I realize, bro, fuck, dude, this dude does so many things well. What I don't like is that he is a decision fighter. He will go for the decision. He will not take that many risks. He will piss you up a little bit, but he will go for the decision. Rarely he gets a knockout or a submission. You know what I mean? So that's the one knock I have on him. But technically wise, he is as fucking good as you get. I mean, John Jones-esque, bro. He's not flashy like John Jones, but his fundamentals, he does everything right. He makes no mistakes, bro. It's insane. It's a good thing to watch. And, you know, I think it's one of those things that are going to be way not appreciated. Nobody's going to appreciate that again for Leon. Why? Because he's not talking shit like Conor or like Colby. That's why. Why? Because he's not, you know, sponsored by Prime. Why? Because he's not big on YouTube, right? Because he doesn't have a big following. That's why all those things are going to go underappreciated for Leon. Skill-wise, though, skill for skill, that guy is up there, bro, with John Jones, with some of the best, because this guy does nothing wrong. Who the fuck takes down and dominates Colby Covington, bro? An all-American pro wrestler, dude. That is fucking sane, bro. All right? Not even Kamaru did that, all right? No one. I mean, Colby's fought some good fucking guys, too. You know, he fought Jorge, who's not a wrestler, but he's fought RDA. He's fought Robbie Lawler. I think he's fought Tyron Woodley. He's been there with some of the best, so we know this guy can compete, right? And for Leon to completely dominate him every single aspect of the fight was insane. Insane. And then Colby, see, bro, if you got the loss, if you already got the loss, if you got the L, don't go out there and think that you won. That just it makes you look so fucking stupid, right? And I'm not saying Colby's stupid. I'm just saying it makes him look stupid. I think he has to completely turn off his character. Completely turn it off. I'll tell you what, I think a lot of people turn on him. I think a lot of his fans turn on him after the shit he said with not only what he said about Leon's dad, because that the people that like Colby, that's what they expect. They expect trash talk. So they don't turn away from him from that. They turn away from him because he talks shit and then he got completely dominated in the fight. You can't do that, bro. You can't do that. That's a fast one-way ticket to being hated. You know what I mean? And to being on the last leg of your career. You know what I mean? Because now every time that Colby goes out there and talks shit, the only thing I'm going to think about is him going to Leon after the conference and say, I'm in character, bro. I'm just in character. I didn't mean it. You can't fucking do that, bro. You also can't fucking do that when there's 20,000 cameras around your shit, bro, with microphones, dude. And I'm pretty sure they have a boom arm somewhat close that picks up everything. Like, what the fuck do you expect, bro? Do you really expect us to believe that you're this asshole heel that talks shit and is a big Trump supporter? That's not you. The Trump support part, that might be true. You know what I mean? But the being a bad guy, bro, it's just now I cannot unsee him saying it's just a character, bro. It's just a character. Any guy that fights Colby after this now has a perfect shit talk thing to say to Colby, right? Oh, what, you're playing your character, bro? Please fucking use it. I will freak the fuck out if nobody uses that against Colby, because he needs to learn a fucking lesson, bro. He needs something of his own medicine, you know what I mean? He's always right when it comes to like, oh, he said this, he said that. One thing I noticed about Colby is that he's a student of the social media, of the interviews, of the thing. He watches interviews, he watches press conferences, he watches everything. He watches the embedded, everything he watches. So he's pretty good at recalling things of like, oh, he said that or he said that. He's good at that, right? All right, now some motherfucker that fights him now come on and say, oh, remember when you said you're just a character? You're fake. He calls everybody fake. He's fake. I'm not talking about his fighting. His personality is fake, and we all know that, and I think it's over, cuh. I think it's time to let it go, cuh. Leon Edwards, I think it's time to let go that haircut, boy. You need to shave, because that fucking, that ball spot, boy, that's all I could see during the fight. That's all I could fucking see. You're amazing, and you're for sure the best welterweight in the world right now. But that haircut gotta go, cuh. So both things gotta go. Leon's haircut, cuh, and Colby Covington's character, cuh. They have to fucking completely exit the building. You know what I mean? Colby cannot keep doing this, bro. If he continues to go out there and talk shit, but we all know it's fake, it just doesn't work. And I don't even think it works with pay-per-views, bro. Dana White says it does, but I disagree. I think people are going to tune in, especially the hardcore fans. They're going to tune in to watch Colby Covington, other than Kamaru Usman, the best welterweight ever. You know what I mean? The only guy that, if Kamaru didn't exist and if Kamaru never came in the UFC, Colby Covington would have been probably on that spot, on the GOAT of the division. You know what I mean? And a dominant champion for years. We want to see that guy. We want to see this motherfucker. We don't want to see a guy talking shit on dead parents. You know what? I don't want to fucking hear about Donald Trump every 5 fucking minutes. You know what I mean? Like, I just hate that, and I wish he would stop, and I hope he fucking stops. And if he doesn't stop, I do believe fans are going to start turning on him, bro, because it's fake, and now we see right through it, right? When he was fighting Kamaru, he was like, I mean, is this guy for real? Is this guy... You didn't know, right? And that's what also made it entertaining. And also, after he fought Kamaru, he told him famously, hey, Joe, I'm just selling the fight. I'm just trying to sell the fight, please. Okay, right, that's after the fight, right? But now he did it even before the fight. He did it after the fucking... Because he knew in reality that what he said was fucking wrong. So, that's my 2 cents about it. As far as what next, I don't fucking care. Colby should go fight, Joe Biden, and Leon Edwards should go fight... I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk... Colby, I don't care who he fights next. I'm officially not a fan of Colby Covington. As long as he keeps doing this shit. If the next fight he has... He does like when Conor fought Dustin Poirier the second time, right? Conor came out polite, more humble, lost the fight, but I was loving seeing that. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is dope. We get a more genuine and a more real side of Conor that we've never seen before. You know what I mean? And I like that. I personally like it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I personally like it. And I think that helped Conor a lot with the loss. You know what I mean? Because, again, if you go and talk shit, now you're a laughing joke. But if you were polite to the guys, show respect, and get the loss, all right, it's whatever, man. It's sportsmanship. We're all good, baby. Nothing matters. But, Colby needs to change that up real quick, bro. As far as the division goes and as far as what's next for Leon Edwards, I think you have Belal Muhammad, 100%. You have Belal Muhammad, who should fight for the title next. After that, the winner of that, should fight either Shavkat Rakhmonov or the winner of Ian Gary and Jeff Neal, or the winner of that. Like I already said, I'm going to explain it, right? The winner Shavkat Rakhmonov won, so now he should fight the winner of Ian Gary and Jeff Neal for a number one contender fight. I already said, man, Shavkat's going to defeat all of them. If he fights Leon, that's his toughest fight, but I think he still gets the win. So I don't give a fuck. I think Shavkat is champion in fucking a year and a half. There, I said it. A year and a half, Shavkat is champion of the UFC. So, boom, there we have it, man. That was the breakdown of the fight for the UFC. But I do have a couple things I have to say. I did see the Jake Paul fight. I didn't even know they were fucking fighting, right, until 30 minutes before it happened. Yeah, whatever. Now you can say Jake Paul is a boxer. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? You know, it's whatever. He was always a boxer, but I just don't get why he does this. I just don't get why fight a guy for less money, no pay-per-view probably, you know, or a little bit of pay-per-view, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just a guy that could be more dangerous. Now, this guy absolutely was a trash can, you know what I mean? This guy was absolutely dog shit, you know what I mean? So at least you did good at choosing that, right? But okay, now what's next? Now are you gonna go against a bigger ranked guy, which it could get pretty difficult. Once you get to the top 10, top 15 of boxing, bro, forget about it. They're all killers, dude. So what, is he gonna do that? Is he gonna do that? Or is he now gonna call Canelo out because he thinks that, you know, now he deserves it because he defeated one nobody. You know what I mean? So but I do like that he did it, however. You know, I don't agree with it. I think if I'm Jake Paul, why? You know, fuck what everybody says and just make him as much money as possible and then get the fuck out. But I get it. He wants to prove himself. And I like it. I like that he wants to prove himself. You know, it's dumb, but I like it. So I hope he does that. I hope he goes through and fights another ranked guy. You know what I mean? I think that's a good idea. It'll shut down a lot of the haters. All the haters. It would shut them down. And now if you get a couple of wins with ranked guys, then you might have a shot at someone like a Canelo. You know what I mean? So by all means, bro, keep doing that. Please don't go and fight Tony Ferguson. Please, please, please do not go and fight Tony Ferguson. But yeah, I like it. And then another thing I wanted to talk about was I was watching Friday. I had nothing to watch. I was just sitting at home doing nothing because I'm a homebody. So Friday I had nothing to watch, and then I was watching the UFC press conferences, you know, and all of that good stuff. And then on YouTube it came out as a recommendation, the Karate Combat, right? And I clicked and I was like, all right, whatever. Holy shit, was I amazed. The main event was Anthony Pettis versus Dan Henderson, a rematch from the UFC. Bro, I'm not going to go into too much depth, but all those fights were amazing. And pretty much all the fights ended in a knockout, bro, except the main event. I mean, fantastic fight. They do it right. Their production was great. Their production is 10 times better than Bellator, PFL, The Zone, you know, back in the day, Showtime. But, well, Showtime, they're pretty good. But the main boxing one that comes to my mind right now is The Zone or whatever. I can think of other, you know, I can't think of other fucking boxing promotions. But The Zone is the one that comes to my hand. But then you have Bellator, PFL, you know, the bigs in MMA. Their production is way better than all of them. I will say their production is number 2 or number 3 to the UFC, bro. And I haven't watched Jorge Masvidal's whole show, so I haven't seen that promotion, but I heard it's okay. But that's a big thing, bro. And I'm talking about production. You guys might not know what I mean, but I'm talking about how the actual event looks. Like, what are we looking at, right? Like, when you're watching the UFC events, right, the production, by that means, like, okay, what they are saying at what specific moment on the flow of the fights, right? Are you showing commercials in between fights? Are you showing us stats? Are you showing us, you know, all that good stuff, plus camera movement, right? Plus commentating, plus the fights themselves, plus the quality of what we're looking at, right? Because when we see, for example, like when they were doing the whole influencer thing, like what was it? YouTubers versus TikTokers, like all those events like that, all the production was dog shit, bro. You know what I mean? And back when they were doing, what's that big promotion? Thriller. When Thriller was doing fights, it looked absolutely dog shit, bro. You know what I mean? So I'm talking about the production overall of the whole product as a whole. I'm not talking about the fights themselves, although the fights are part of it. I'm talking about the whole product. What are we giving to people? The UFC is not just giving us fights. You know what I mean? They're giving us entertainment, and everything plays to that. The press conferences, the commentators, the interviews, the little trailers that they show before the fight, the post interviews after the fight. You know what I mean? The whole production, and then the way the cameras are moving, the way they cut. You know what I mean? All of that goes to the production, goes to the final product, right? Karate Combat has a great product, bro. They had amazing commentators. They had one guy that I never heard of in my life, but they had Bas Rutten, they had GSP, and Mike Malek, which I thought was kind of random, but he, by the way, did amazing, bro. Shout out to Mike Malek. I thought he was just gonna be like a bullshit commentator of a social media expert commentator, which he did play that role a little bit. He was kind of commenting of what was trending and stuff like that, or what social media was saying, but he also commentated really well on the fights, where I was so fucking surprised. And he knew his shit. He knew the fighters, you know what I'm saying? He knew their style, and he was doing really well. Mind you, he did still take a little bit of a rookie role, which is amazing, is what you should do, you know what I mean? So he was saying to GSP and to Bas Rutten, oh, you guys are the experts on this, but is this okay? What is it? Are they doing? Should they do this? What should they do next? He did fantastic, bro. He did so fucking good that I think he can, for sure, pursue some type of career in it. You know what I mean? Obviously, he doesn't need it. He's mad fucking famous and rich. But also, one thing that helped him a lot, and I think I discovered Karate Combat on the right night, right? Because that one night kind of blew them up. They were trending on Twitter. All the stars were there. They had Volk, they had Sean O'Malley, they had Sterling was there, Nate Diaz was there, you know what I mean? They had Chris Angel was there. They had a lot of famous people there, you know what I'm saying? So the one thing that I would change is they had King Botch do the post interviews for the fighters, so kind of like the Joe Rogan, you know what I mean? When he interviews them after, he got to go, bro. He didn't know his shit at all. He was a guy that was just there, probably just for a paycheck and just commentate a little bit. He didn't do that well. They had another corny dude that would break down the fights really well, but he wasn't he was like the wannabe Bruce Buffer. You know what I mean? So we had the wannabe Joe Rogans, we had the wannabe Bruce Buffer. And he was wearing a sparkly suit. You could tell he was trying to copy Bruce Buffer, and he was trying to do that same energy. You know what I mean? He did okay, and he broke down the fights really, really well. He was like a mix between Bruce Buffer and Daniel Cormier, for example, or like a Din Thomas, where they know what the fuck they're talking about, but they also got to entertain. Bruce Buffer, he doesn't break down the fights, but he entertains the fuck out of everyone, you know what I mean? So he was like a weird mesh between them. It was a little corny, but I liked them, and the whole product overall, I liked it. I'm a fan of Karate Combat now. I'm gonna keep tuning in for the next fights. I think that was the last one of the year. So yeah, and the fights are good, bro. The fights are fucking good, bro. Even someone like Anthony Pettis and then Henderson, they're MMA guys. They're not only karate guys, but they came out. I know they had a UFC background, so I was assuming that they were more well-rounded, wrestling and whatnot, but they were fully embracing the karate aspect of it, and I loved it, and it looked like they've been doing karate the entire fucking lives, bro. It was amazing to watch. So I'm a fan now. They won me over. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan now. I hope they grow, and I hope to catch one live. You know what I'm saying? They seem the tickets at least might seem obviously more affordable than the UFC, and they go to a lot of places in America, so hopefully I can catch one in the future. So anyways, that is it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I catch you all on the next one. Peace.